Some time ago, I found this channel named Jeffrey Unturned. One can only speculate if he has any real ties to the real OG Jeffrey, but when I saw these videos, I instantly knew that there is something more to this than we can see, so I started investigating this. And to be honest, this is probably the scariest ARG that I ever covered on this channel. It all started with the shortest video, which is the first one, where Jeffrey is just looting in SinglePlayer Berlin on the Germany map, where he kills some zombies for XP and finds a gas mask and free filters, along with other ordinary loot, and then he logs off for the day in the police station. In the second video he uploaded, he goes to the aerospace defense complex to get some better graded gear, and when he gets there he finds a 13% Augswagen, other military loot, and most importantly a helicopter, which will become very important in the story later. For now, he uses that heli to get to the valley behind the aerospace defense complex, which is a weirdly hidden spot for a base, even though he's on single player. But he builds the base nonetheless, adds a few torches, campfire, metal door, wardrobes, and logs off for the day. Also, when he was in the defense complex, there was barely any zombies at all, but we can only speculate if that was caused by a bug or something else. In the third video, he wants to explore the map a bit more, so he went to Cologne because he found a gas mask and free filters in Berlin earlier in the first video. He gets there and loses for a bit and gets an almost empty and very damaged Dragon Fang, but then it seems like the video gets cut without any explanation, and Jeffrey starts going back for some reason, even though he has 2 more filters and still hasn't looted the whole Cologne. So he goes to his heli, but he cannot find it, so he just probably assumes that the zombies destroyed it or something, so he has to go on foot. But he sees a base in the distance with a light from a campfire. After he notices it, Jeffrey reloads his gun and sprints to investigate, because remember, he is playing single player. Something turns off the light in the base. He went up to the base and nothing. There is one-way glass, so he cannot see inside the base. Jeffrey looks at his Dragon Fang, but then he just walks home without doing anything, which is weird. But when he comes home, he puts all his rare stuff in lockers and logs off, which is weird once again, because why would he craft lockers in single player? Also, this implies that he's playing off camera as well, because he didn't have these lockers in the previous video. Anyway, the fourth and last video on his channel starts in the main menu, where he starts gambling for some reason, and he gets a ping, which is kinda lucky. Then he joins his single player world again, where we can see that he expanded his base. He sets off to explore the map once again, but after he sets off, the video gets cut and it shows him dying to something censored in Camp Dusseldorf, and after he respawns in his base, he grabs his Dragon Fang, detonator, and C4 that he crafted off camera and heads off to destroy the base he found in the third video. He starts to destroy the base, starting with placing a C4, detonating it, and then destroying the rest of the base with the Dragon Fang, every single tile. And this is how the last video ends. To be honest, I wasn't really sure if this is truly all we got, or if I was missing something, but then I realized something that I don't know how I could have missed, but if you go to this exact time, you can see that there are 6 trees cut down and 2 plates placed. Then if you go on this exact tree and count down 6 meters down and 2 more meters to the left, right, then we can see that there is this dark colored green. This green, which is hex code, is 171912, but after that I got a little stuck again, because I didn't know how that correlated with anything. But then I realized that I'm just looking too deep into this, and the answer is pretty clear. You just have to take the first number from the hex code, which is 1, then take all the small numbers like 1s and 2, add them up, which makes 4. Subtract this from the second number, 7, which makes 3. Then put number 2 in front of the third number, because there are 2 numbers in front of it, which makes 21. Then take the 4th and 5th number and rotate it, because in the 4th video, on the 5th second, we could see a rotated car on its back for a few seconds, which makes 16. Then take the last number, which is 2, which symbolizes that there are 2 bases on the world, his and the one that he destroyed, at least the ones that we know of. And we get numbers 1, 3, 21, 16, 2. Then if we convert this to letters alphabetically, except the 1 and 2, because that's too small, then we get this weird name. And if we put this into the popular video making platform YouTube, we get this channel where we can find something truly disturbing. On the newfound channel, it shows a video of the second POV of the entity lurking inside of Jeffrey's world. For example, in the first video, when Jeffrey sees the light in that base turning off, it was this entity seeing Jeffrey get closer through the one-way glass. And even when Jeffrey got really close to it to punch it, the entity was there behind the glass, just watching the player's panic and fear in his eyes, without Jeffrey knowing, which is very scary. The entity was also the reason Jeffrey left Cologne way too early. In the entity's video, we can see that Jeffrey saw him but got it out of the video for some reason. This scared Jeffrey so much that he wanted to go home immediately, but he couldn't because the heli was destroyed by the entity for reasons unknown. Maybe the entity wanted to spend time with Jeffrey, but Jeffrey kept running away. But why would that be? Why would an entity want to do that? Well, if we look at the description of the entity's video, there are 2 links, and one of them is an unlisted video from Jeffrey's channel and Jeffrey's POV of him looting in the Schwarzwald military base with no zombies spawning. And when he wanders around the military base, he finally sees it. He sees the entity lurking and terrorizing Jeffrey's world. Now scared, he runs to his car and sets off to safety, his home. But on the way home, his car blows up, so he has to go by foot. And when he gets there, something crazy happens once again. The entity appears to stalk Jeffrey and find his base. All the trees are cut down and the bases are everywhere, identical to the base he destroyed earlier. Jeffrey probably had enough, so he took all his raiding supplies and destroyed every single base there was. Then Jeffrey quits the game and uninstalls it, and that's how the unlisted video ends. The second link under the entity's video was a personal blog of the entity where we get to know him more. It states that when he was born, he was a small German child born in Germany because his parents were German. He was Jeffrey's brother that died in an accident caused by Jeffrey because Jeffrey was a bad driver and flipped the car somehow, which was foreshadowed to us by Jeffrey blowing up his car earlier and there being a flipped car on its back in the 4th video. But Jeffrey survived the accident, and the entity in Jeffrey's world, Jeffrey's brother, wanted to tell him that it wasn't his mistake and that it would happen anyway, and he wanted to tell him that in Unturned because that's what they always play together. But why didn't Jeffrey just listen? Well, perhaps he didn't want to be reminded about his accident no more. That's why he always ran away and cut the brother out of his videos. We can only guess the true reason for this, but at least we now know what was scaring Jeffrey, and I don't think that Jeffrey will ever return to Unturned after these very scary and tragic experiences.